Thank you very much, Iftach, for sharing with us what you and Amazon think about cloud security. Until now, we heard what some major companies in the industry think. And now I would like to see what some nonprofit organization, the Cloud Alliance, are thinking about the move to the cloud. So I would like to invite Jim Reavis, who is the CEO and the co-founder of the Security Cloud Alliance.
Thank you very much, Mikhail. And as I'm waiting for my slides to come up, I just want to tell you how excited I am for being in Israel for my very first time. So it's great. So I'm staying in a beautiful hotel right on the beach. Great people watching. That's terrific. And then tomorrow I'm going to play a little hooky and go touring and see Jerusalem, which I think every person should do once in their life for sure. And then, but most importantly, I get to speak in the big kids room at Cyber Week here. It's exciting. And even more than that, I had the Prime Minister Netanyahu provide my warm-up act for me earlier today. So thanks very much to him for doing that. Terrific. So did a good job. I think there was a few less empty seats when he was in here. So what I want to do is, again, say how pleased and thrilled and honored really I am to speak here. The content so far is just tremendous, and looking at the program is just amazing. And Israel has played such an important fundamental role in the information security industry throughout the years in the technology and to the larger community. We have some very big challenges ahead of ourselves, and we're going to need to up our game even more. There's tremendous challenges, and we don't necessarily have all those answers. So Cloud Security Alliance, we are a global not-for-profit. We develop vendor-neutral security best practices for cloud. We also do a lot of work with IoT, anything we feel is sort of next-generation technology. And we'll be doing a deeper dive on the Cloud Day, which is put on by the CSA Israel chapter here on Thursday, and I'll be there with a longer presentation, and hope we'll see several of you there. But you know, when we started almost 10 years ago in building the Cloud Security Alliance, there were a tremendous number of naysayers and organizations, enterprises who said, we will never put any assets in the cloud beyond things that are completely low risk, and we will maybe do private clouds. And those same organizations, we feel have very aggressive public cloud adoption strategies. Many of them are already in there. And we feel to a degree that idea of having defensible security best practices for cloud, which was our original mission, that we've really fulfilled that. But we need to look at how the world is changing, and we need to look at evolving our mission. And we do feel that mission is something that means we need to put cloud computing at the center, at the core, at the foundation of information security, which we believe needs to be primarily delivered as a service in the future. And that's going to shift things quite a bit. So because we are a nonprofit, I can't afford graphics designers, and you can tell that by the quality of my slides. So I'm going to continue on with my presentation now, courtesy of free internet meme generators. So I will tell Picard, what the hell is this self-driving information security thing that I'm talking about and wanting to do? So it is a little bit of a misnomer, I think, when we talk about this. It's this idea of technology certainly is disrupting a lot of industries, and I'm really using that more as a theme, the idea of autonomous driving, to say, how is cloud, how is technology going to disrupt information security from that perspective? And I actually think it's very important that we do this. Now, do I believe that we are going to automate information security? Do I believe that? I'm not saying that in Cyber Week 2020 that half of the audience will be robots, but that would be very cool. That would save on catering costs. Be a lot of fun. But no, what I do think is that we're going to find that the magnitude and the scope of the challenges and the changes we need to run up against means we need to automate a lot. We need to think about automating a lot of what we are doing today because we have so many tasks ahead of us. And I'll try to give you, again with my cheap slides, give you a perspective of how I break down this problem. So I believe, near as I can tell, the year that I was born, there were probably about 40,000 human beings for each computer in the world. And in a few years from now, I think we're going to find that it'll be inversed and that we're going to have maybe 40,000, hundreds of thousands of computers. If you really count everything, if you really count every chip out there for every human being on Earth. Now, there's a lot of the practices we have which are rightfully not changing some of the theories and philosophies, and that's been talked about here. But there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to need to change as well. That's a huge shift. And I don't think that, we talk about Internet of Things, we talk about a lot of different types of technologies. I don't think we've really put our arms around what does that mean for humanity? What does that mean for society? But we're at this point right now where things are moving fast, and this is as slow as things are ever going to move for the rest of your life. So here's another way that I think about this and break this down. So clearly, when I talk to those organizations that were naysayers when we were starting Cloud Security Alliance, they gave up. Cloud computing is going to be the back end. Organizations are decommissioning data centers. Even if they're keeping them around, it's really an orchestration. The point's kind of moot whether the computer's here or the computer's over at Amazon or Microsoft's data centers. The way that is orchestrated, the way compute is going to move around, it's really cloud computing. And that's our back end. Internet of Things, which again, I don't have a big enough brain to put my arms around this completely. That's the end point. And what do I mean by all this? It means that compute really is everywhere. It's everywhere. It's all around us. It's surrounding us. The things like ambient technology means they're certainly, I agree with that, just sort of dissolves in the background. But it's maybe always listening to us. So compute's everywhere. But you won't know where anything is. And I do this, I won't put you guys on the spot, but I'll ask an audience and say, who knows where their servers are and knows where your endpoints are to a pretty good degree. And the ones who raise their hands, I'll tell them that you obviously don't know how to use technology, because really you don't. You're not taking full advantage of it in any case if you are not letting it sort of be free and understand where it might be. So this idea of compute being everywhere, this idea of we've gone from software upgrades maybe a couple times a year to it's changing constantly every day. We've gone from this point of we name our servers, we try to keep them up a long time, to everything's instantiated with virtual machines or microservices in a very rapid way. And what was here 10 seconds ago is gone now. So you can't name your pet after a virtual machine instant that lasts 10 seconds, unless you kill a lot of your pets or something, then maybe that fits. So with this, to me, it really means that we're going to need to think a lot about how do we cope with this type of scale, understanding that we are not going to get the same exponential growth in human beings on this earth, and certainly in professionals that are going to seek this particular discipline, although we certainly want more. So again, my cheesy graphic view of this is that, you know, now when I talk to a lot of the organizations out there and I try to benchmark, and they spend a lot of time on compliance, trying to spend more and more time on information security, but it's people that they invested on, and then there's all that other stuff. And while I think, yeah, you could make the argument, and I do actually think we're going to grow the industry, we're going to need more people, that the whole industry, the whole world really, which is going to depend on cybersecurity more and more, is going to depend on a lot of other areas, which I don't think we've done pockets of very good research implementation, but I don't think we've organized this into a very coherent and sort of new information security or cybersecurity framework. So certainly we believe this idea of software is eating the world. It's got to be delivered as a service. It's got to be orchestrated in a very rapid way. That's how we're going to do a lot of security. We've got a project, software-defined perimeter, that really is about how do you create very secure black clouds, virtual private clouds that span multiple cloud infrastructures. So believe that there's a lot of that. So I sort of created a laundry list I'll go into a little bit on the next slide, but we think there's a lot of important areas that you're familiar with, you heard of. They're topics that are focused on here at this conference that there's a lot of buzz about, but we really got to figure out how we take these things to the next level. So when I think about some of the things that are very important, I kind of put the top two up there that I thought were really compelling to me. So blockchain, I think, as this immutable log, transparent sort of ledger that can actually allow us to have a digital currency, it's probably going to outlive Bitcoin itself. And I see this as being something that's going to change information security fundamentally. This trusted way of communicating, of perhaps encapsulating SLAs, contracts, all those sorts of things, I think that's just huge. Artificial intelligence, I think we're going to find that as being core to how we assemble this sort of framework. If you look at how we do information security in a SOC today, and we take hundreds of millions of transactions and we filter that down to 20 that an analyst needs to look at, I have no confidence that we're getting the right 20 there. And so I think we're going to need to actually be able to apply, and you could argue AI, machine learning, both. We're going to need to have blockchain, a lot of work on autonomics and how we automate these things. DevOps, I think, is a big part of it. So I think these are some of the key areas that this is a call to action that I think we all need to work on together. So with that, I want to say, I have one more funny meme, and that's all I have to say. But let's think about automating. Let's think about self-driving information security, and think about this as you go through a lot of the other sessions we have here. So I want to thank you very much. Take care.